Please be advised that by the order of the Governor S2475, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, this meeting will be held virtually and accessed through the Zoom link provided on the agenda on the website or at mytowngovernment.com. I guess we can, hold on, let me just get rid of this. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. We'll take any visitor comments if there's anyone on.
Ann Barnes here.
Hi, Ann.
Hi. I want to ask if the free Comcast is only for libraries or other town buildings too.
I don't know that, and that may be a question we can ask when we get to the Comcast Cable Renewal. How's that?
Good, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else? Okay,
No.
Is Julie on yet? Okay, I don't want to jump into the next thing. Start the mask and virtual conversation without her. Well, I guess, Eileen, quickly, while we're waiting for Julie to reconnect, that was Ann Barnes asking a question about free Comcast for libraries versus town buildings. Is that something that you can answer?
Is she talking about cable services like courtesy drops?
Ann?
Yes.
Yeah, so some of the town, yes, we do provide courtesy drops to town municipal buildings. And some of the town buildings are receiving it right now, but the municipal building is eligible for a courtesy drop and basic cable to that location.
Would that cover Wi-Fi?
No, this is just for cable. Wi-Fi's a separate service.
I tell you,
Dan, does that answer your question?
Would I have to get cable to get Wi-Fi or just Wi-Fi?
No, are you talking about the townhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, that would have to be, so you would have to get internet service there in order to get the Wi-Fi. That's what that would be through. So Comcast offers internet, they offer cable TV and phone.
Mm-hmm. I have all those at home.
You can either bundle it or you can get it separately. So that would have to be worked into your budget for the town.
Thank you.
Okay. So Julie, are you with us now? Okay.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
I am here.
Okay, perfect. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the masks and virtual meetings. We have to make that decision, for March 1st. I don't know if we wanted to have a discussion. I have been keeping track of the cases. The Board of Health hasn't updated the town's page since February 6th, but as of that date, the cases have been going down, and overall they're going down, and I think it's probably, I think it's safe to say that we can remove the mask restrictions in the buildings and go back to in-person meetings. I'm not opposed to a virtual concept, of that meeting. I think the governor, I think there was a date, Nicole, do you remember? I saw an email last
I think
week.
I think it's July.
Yeah, so we could do that until July at this point, unless something changes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I'm okay with getting rid of the mask mandate. Obviously, I'd recommend it still for a while, but that's people's choice. In the virtual meetings, I'm fine with. We don't have that many people that go anyhow, so it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I think if people obviously feel more comfortable with masks, that's definitely, I'm going to keep wearing my mask at meetings, to be honest with you guys. I don't mind going in person, but I will continue to wear mine.
I'm in favor of the virtual meetings. I think we should continue to have the virtual meetings, or at least a component of it, just because it makes it, I don't know, for those who want to participate in person or those who want to participate, by Zoom. I think it's, selfishly it's easier for me because I don't, I'm in West Springfield and I don't need to drive back, but if I need to, that's fine. I think from a safety perspective, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Curious to see how coming back after school vacation goes, but it is, I think like Rob said, it kind of is what it is. And, if everyone's on the same page, then I would take a motion.
I move that we remove the mask mandate for town buildings and allow virtual meetings as of March 1st.
I'll second that.
Do we want to add the virtual meeting to that? And to go?
Well, I think the problem is if we make it part of the thing and people aren't able to do the virtual meetings, it's kind of like a component that if people are able to do them, like this board's able to do them, but some of the smaller boards have trouble hosting virtual meetings. I don't want it to become a snagging point for them to have meetings.
So last time we said if they were able to have a virtual component, then that's fine. So we're not asking them to do both. I think we're just saying that we'll go, as a board, we're going to go back in person with a virtual component for our meetings. And if other boards want to do that and have the capability to do that, then by all means they should. Does that make sense?
Do you want to add that? It just seems long. That's fine. I think we're all trying to get to the same place here.
Could we?
Want me to just say and add remote participation if a board chooses?
If possible.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we said last meeting. The last time we made the recommendation, we as a board decided to keep our meetings virtual for the whole month. That's all.
So to clarify for us, are we going to go back in person and have a virtual component?
If that's okay.
Yeah,
if everybody's okay with that.
I'm okay.
Rob?
Yeah, no, I think that's what we need to do is get back virtually, but we need to have some kind of get back to physically, but be able to be virtual.
Yeah. Nicole, are you good with still hosting meetings?
Yep.
Okay, as long as you're good with that too, then I guess.
All right, I'm going to restate my motion then, I guess.
Say as discussed, I don't care. I mean, there's a lot there.
That we discontinue the mask mandate and allow in-person meetings, but if possible, we recommend that committees and commissions have a virtual component.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And I'll try to attend it in person as much as I can.
Yeah, we understand that your busy time is coming up, Julie. Well, one meeting at a time, we'll tackle it. How's that?
Sounds good.
Is there any other old business, Nicole?
I don't have any.
Okay. So new business, Comcast Cable Renewal. Eileen, you're up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the agenda tonight. As said, I'm Eileen Leahy. I'm the Senior Manager of Government Relations for Comcast. And Hardwick is one of my communities that I represent. So the renewal, your contract or license expires with Comcast on October 29, 2022, which is October of this year. So I had a meeting early on, some time ago, regarding the renewal, and I just wanted to get back on track so we can discuss kind of what the needs of the community are, what they're hoping for in this next license, and just get the ball moving so we can renew this in a timely manner.
I believe I had asked for coverage map.
Yeah, I did send
And you,
I did send that. I can send another one too, but that was sent some months ago.
oh yeah, I never saw that. So that would be super helpful.
Yeah, I can resend that.
Okay, great.
It was sent like, I don't even know what month, but so the town's all covered except for 6 or 7 premises don't have,
Correct.
and it's
Yeah, and I know we.
$25,000 to service those 7.
Okay. Is that something that Comcast is willing to do
I mean,
within
some of
this
it's negotiated.
renewal?
I mean, I it depends what all the asks are of the community. It's something we would look at and see what we can do. There is, I don't know if the town received any ARPA money, but ARPA money can be used towards that as well. The town
So I don't know if you know, but we have a huge sewer project that we are undergoing, and those funds will most likely, be used there.
Okay.
But that's just a need that the town has. I'm more concerned about getting everyone hooked up. I know we really pushed for it last time, and you guys did a great job. There's just, like you said, 6 or 7. And they were out there, they were reaches,
they're
understandable. But,
Yeah. They're definitely, far off, or I don't know how you want to say it, but yeah,
they are, I mean, but it would be nice to get everybody covered. I even think of it as a resale, selling point for homes. It's crazy that it's 2022 and they don't have access to Comcast or any other, provider except for satellite, and that can be spotty at best. So
we can certainly look at that again, and I'll do a deeper dive on that, for sure.
Obviously, we need to have a public hearing, right?
You do need to have a public hearing prior to the expiration, and the town can schedule that at whatever time they want. Some communities do it right before the license is signed. Other communities do it earlier on to gather ascertain on what the needs are and the wants of the community. So it's really however the town wants to deal with it. There's really no wrong way. But that is something that needs to be done. It was also discussed when we last spoke about hooking up or activating your PEG channel. And I don't know if that's something the town is still interested in or wanting to go forward with.
We've gone a different avenue.
So you're not interested in that anymore?
No.
Okay.
I was going through the contract, Kelly, if you don't mind.
yeah, go right ahead, Nicole.
And I was just wondering, because it is 10 years old, in section 9.4, there's the license fees, have those gone up at all? In the last 10 years, or 50 cents per subscriber right now?
statutory, that's set by the state, so it's 50 cents per sub. So you get that check every, I think you get repeated in March, based on the numbers from December, and you get it around March 15th. So you
Okay.
get,
So it's still the same?
it's still 50 cents per sub.
And I got asked about, from somebody, a different town regarding free internet for public buildings. Do you do that anywhere in Massachusetts?
I can't speak for the state of Massachusetts. There's no, I'm not aware of anybody in Western Mass or Comcast who's getting free internet to public buildings. I couldn't speak for the whole state.
Okay. And is there still a senior price? Like a price for 65 and up or something for basic?
So Hardwick doesn't have a senior discount. There's a very few number of communities who have senior discounts that have been continued or grandfathered in from older franchises, but as a general rule, we don't normally offer new senior discounts. I mean, certainly if that's what you guys ask for, it's something I can bring back and discuss internally.
Okay, please. And then there's the 6.4, the PEG access support. So it's the percentages for each year. It was 2% year 1, 2, 3, 3%, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 4%, 8, 9, 10.
Yep, it's at 4% currently.
Yeah.
3% gross annual revenues. Yep, and we get that quarterly.
So is there negotiating? Is there a possibility of negotiating that?
Negotiate up to 5%.
Okay, excellent. Oh, one more thing in 10.3 for our address, it's the wrong address. It says 207, but we're 307.
Okay, 307. So can you just give me the complete address so I have it right now correctly?
307 Main Street, P.O.
Okay.
Box 575, Gilbertville, 01031. The rest of it's right, just the number.
Okay. I'll make sure that gets fixed.
And I would suggest to the board that we have a public meeting before it's negotiated and finalized, because that's what I think the public hearing would be for, to get the public's input.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to suggest the same thing, Nicole.
So we can do that pretty soon.
Okay.
Are you typically present for that? I know I went through it in Palmer, but I forgot.
Yes, I always go to the public hearing. So if it's in person, I'll be there in person. If it's virtual, I'll join online. Whatever.
Great.
Anytime you guys do it.
Okay. And I think I know the answer to this one, but I know, and Nicole mentioned she's been asked recently about Boston stations versus Springfield stations for this town.
Right. So that's it's based on the excuse me, the market that the town's in. So because of where Hardwick's located, you're picking up. If you get the Boston news stations, is
We
that
get Boston, right? And we used to get Springfield.
okay?
Some
Now,
parts of the town, yeah, and then so now everyone gets Boston, and some people are, up in arms about that. But I thought at one point we had this conversation, and that was kind of out of your control.
yeah, it is out of our control, but it's based on the market. Those would be your in-market channels, and it's really just it's more of a technical thing, really. But so I think Hardwick, Warren, and probably where I'll pick up are part of the Boston GMA, which is what they call it inside the Springfield GMA. And there's really nothing. It's kind of out of my control. I mean, I can look at it, but this is a concern within the town to get the Springfield news stations, and I understand that they're closer to Springfield than Boston, but I don't. There's really not much I can do, but I can definitely look into it further for you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I thought you had said that before, but I just figured, ask the question again.
Of course.
Rob or Julie, do you have any concerns or things you want to bring up regarding the renewal?
No, but just do we want to kind of pick a date for the public hearing now as opposed to waiting? Because this is up sooner than we know.
Yeah, I know. October will be knocking on the door. I'm fine with picking something. Julie, for you, is it best? Is there any 15th of the month that's better to go after of any month?
It's fine. I'll make it work. I mean, you always bend to my schedule, and I need to be available. So, if we could stay away from March 15th, that would be great. Any other time, it's fine.
I mean, do we want to do something at the end of March?
Well, it needs to be advertised, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. How many days does it have to be advertised for?
I don't remember them.
I think it's 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks or something. I'm not
So
sure.
it's
But
gotta be in the paper for 2 weeks, and then you can have the hearing after that within 7 days. So since it's on a Thursday, we could have it on a Monday, but it'd have to be the earliest it could be would be March 28th, which is a regular meeting.
Do you
If
want
I
to
advertise the 10th and the 17th.
I'm not. I don't want to complicate your lives, but I'm out of the office that last week of March.
Okay.
I mean, somebody could cover it for me, but I prefer to be there because I like to hear what the public has to say and get the feel from the community.
Do you think that we could include it as part of our meeting and go into a public hearing?
Yes.
Do that, right? I mean, so do you want to shoot for one of our meetings in April then? And I'm assuming, Julie, maybe the 25th would be better than the 11th?
Again, I'll work around whatever I need to.
Okay.
You guys are patient with my schedule, and I appreciate that. But it isn't all about me. So
Well, why not? It can be. Sure.
there's 3 of us, so it's all about the 3. There's actually 4.
Well,
So
so
all about the 4 of us.
let me say this. The 11th is election day, so
Are we going to have a meeting election day?
You
we
can't.
can.
You can't?
Yes, we can.
Did last year.
It's, yeah. Yep.
The 25th is fine with me if that's what we want to do.
Rob, do you want to do that April 25th?
That's fine.
Okay.
That'll be good because we won't be in the budgets completely yet either.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go with that. Eileen, does that work for you?
Yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate that. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on the takeaways. Kelly, do you want me to email the coverage map to you directly?
Or to Nicole, either, just so that we have it to review again.
Okay.
Like you said, if you sent it, I apologize because I don't
Don't
remember
worry
seeing it.
about it. Not a problem. Coverage map. So I'll send that, and then the other request was to take a deeper dive looking at those unserved homes.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you're not looking to activate a PEG channel because I've done an estimate for that, so that's nothing you guys are looking to do now.
Correct.
Okay.
And look to see if we can get a Springfield channel so we can get some local news.
Yep, the DMA. I just wrote that down. Springfield channels. Okay. And was there anything else you wanted me to follow up on, or any concerns you have at this time?
Are we looking? So are we looking for some kind of assistance to get those other folks online, or some other concession or something from Comcast to try to get those other people? You had mentioned, Eileen, about 25,000 to get those folks online. Are we looking for some assistance there from Comcast, or? I was in and out on the conversation, so I apologize if I missed it. I don't know what we were looking for there, if we're looking for anything, Kelly.
Yeah, I had asked if we could possibly negotiate getting those additional homes covered that were not covered in that last build. So she was going to look into that. She thought, she had gotten an estimate of 25,000. So I asked if it was something that, they would be willing to do in this renewal.
So could we put that on the list, Eileen, also?
Yep. I
Yeah.
do. I have that on my list.
Thank you.
No problem. And then the only other thing I know you mentioned, maybe increasing the franchise fee. We just always need some sort of ascertainment, like what are your needs for having increased the percentage amount? So if you can provide me some sort of ascertainment, I'd be greatly appreciative of that.
Sure.
Okay, I think we're probably good with this if everyone else is.
Right, yeah, so I have my list, so I will work on those items. Do that
And then
in
we'll-
person.
Okay, is there anything, when we put out the hearing, is there anything that, we should be, putting out to the public, I know there's certain things that you can't help with, so I guess I don't wanna inundate a meeting with requests that are not what you're, capable of doing anything about. Like the pricing and stuff like that,
Okay, so pricing, channel lineups, there's nothing, all that's negotiated in this license is capital, like any capital grants, franchise fees, line extensions, length, the tenure of the contract. But nothing, we have no control over pricing, channel lineups, packaging, anything like
Okay,
that.
that's
And
what I thought, so I just wanna make people know so that,
Yeah,
they can't come and complain about their bill.
right, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There is language that is usually read before the public hearing, kind of laying that out
Mhm.
by the town, just saying, this is what the public hearing will address. And I don't know if that's sort of DTC or what, but I know it in every public hearing I've been to, it's pretty much been the same script has been read beforehand.
Okay, I'm sure we can find that and
Yeah.
make sure we read that.
Yeah, and that usually just kind of like the ground rules and what the public hearing is about and everything.
Right. Okay, good enough. Then we will see you on April 25th. I would probably say 6. I guess we could open the meeting with that. What do you guys think? And then be done,
I'm with
done
me.
the public hearing. So we'll say 6:30.
And most likely in person.
Yes, unless something changes with,
Okay, great. And where do you guys meet, in the town hall?
correct.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
Eileen.
for coming.
No problem. Have a great evening.
You as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next up, discussion about collector position combined with treasurer position, clerk position for finance. So I'm gonna hand that over to you, Nicole, to
Thank you.
talk about.
So we haven't had any luck with hiring a collector. We haven't had any qualified applicants. We have the outside vendor, and I've been doing a lot of turnover because there's excise has tons of taxes that come due, tons of bills, that come due. So, I was forwarded an article that I forwarded to you guys by cities and towns, and where the DLS and the DOR recommend that you combine these positions, especially when there's a vacancy. So as I was reaching out to Zach Blake to do a financial review in the spring for us from DLS, he said, well, I sent the article to him, who he in turn got me in contact with the author of the article, so I was able to talk to her. But he also said that they absolutely will strongly recommend that we combine them, and if we hire somebody now, especially when there's a vacancy, that it's not going to be looked on favorably. So if you have a vacancy, you should be combining them. I think we have a very capable employee. So the other thing is, let me go back to that article. I asked the author of the article, I can't remember her name, how to go about combining it. So she went back and gave me the legal history of the Modernization Act in 2017, where elected positions, if they were both elected, you would be able to combine them through your town meeting. However, since they're both appointed, they got left behind, unfortunately, and they have to go through special legislation. So I have written the special legislation and sent it off to council, and I'm waiting to hear back from him, among other things, the next step in the process. But what she did say was that it's certainly not illegal or inappropriate to appoint the same person to both positions. So you can do that. So even though we can't combine them, you can appoint the same person. Jessica Crawford is our treasurer. She also worked in the collector's office in Barry before she came here. She knows all about collections, and I think that I also think that historically we haven't really been taking care of our financial team as well. And with one person in each department, it's really hard to keep the whole department moving. Flowing well with if somebody takes a vacation or they're off or whatever it is. And, I think that first of all, my suggestion will be in the coming months to combine this position, whenever we can do it. And then appoint Jessica to both, possibly appoint her sooner. The only thing is she can't do two jobs as one person. So, in our budget, there's no line item for a clerk, for a treasurer collector clerk. So I'm not exactly sure what to do in the meantime, but I think that, in the coming future, we could appoint her, and, she even had an idea possibly doing instead of just this whole salary, just while she's doing the collecting, take an hourly pay, while she's down doing the collections versus her salary that she gets as a treasurer. We can't necessarily afford mass muni fin too much longer. She's doing what she can, but it's not affordable for us for sure. So I'm not exactly sure what to do. We can't hire a clerk. We can't have Jessica be alone in two offices. So I also think that it's not so crucial now that these excise bills have gone out, and now I'm actually turning them over because the next set of bills goes out for May. So we have a little bit of time. But I'd like maybe some input on what you guys think and what you think of my idea here, and then also hiring. I would like to add in another clerk position in the finance department.
So quickly, do we know what is left in the collector's budget right now, and how much we spent? If we were to sever the tie with Mass Muni, is there still money left in that budget?
Oh yeah, there is. But it will be depleting quickly. I could look it up.
I could look, just give me a minute.
Quickly.
Okay, great.
Okay. And then my next question would be for Jessica, and just how you feel about this. If we were to combine them, and I think the only way we could combine it is with an additional clerk, and we would have to find funding for that come town meeting. Unfortunately, our hands are tied right now to do anything with that until town meeting. But that is literally around the corner, and I think about it and I'm like, how did that already come up so fast again? And we've already talked about doing the town meeting earlier than not, for a couple of other reasons. So it literally is right around the corner. I just don't know if we can, kind of hump along in the meantime, until we can, if we decide to combine it, do the process, what it takes to do that. And then, and find a qualified clerk to help. Obviously, we've struggled with this, we just don't know what we will find. So that will take time too. In the meantime, if you were going to do this, I guess I just wanted to hear from you how you feel about it.
Yeah, I have put a lot of thought into it. I would definitely want software that we currently have for the tax collector converted to Vadar. And I don't know what the cost of that is. I reached out to them to see. I'll let you guys know. So I want to convert the the data there, program, and then definitely would need a clerk. So I thought about, how could this be done efficiently with a clerk, and I would definitely need to find a good clerk, hopefully 32 hours a week. I mean, that would be, I don't know, that would be preferable. Even if it was 20 though, I still thought about this. I would probably have them do like payroll and data entry and probably payments from customers, things that are time consuming. I would definitely have to put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, well, we could come up with a job description, of course, and we'd have to discuss Jessica's salary. But I feel like between these two positions, it wouldn't be that much more to have her as the treasurer collector and then have a clerk. Right now, it's about $90,000 for both positions. So, we certainly can't talk about money and things like that right now, but I don't feel like it would be that much of a stretch to, have that be the whole department.
And then combine and then add the.
Yeah, so I have job descriptions, of course, and I hired one in Palmer, so I have that job description too. All these things would have to happen. We certainly, no matter who comes on, we have to convert this old, not junky, but old, just different software. It really should all be with the rest of the finance team on Vadar, which is our financial software. So we need to do that no matter what happens.
We've had that conversation several times, and we tried, and it got kind of pushed back. So
yeah.
I think having software that talks to each other is huge. And sorry, Lori, I kind of left you hanging over there after I asked you to look up.
Okay, it's okay. I figured I'd jump in when it was appropriate. There's 24/5 left, and that's probably not all of Sarah's paid out yet.
Right. Yeah, probably not. Okay,
That's
so
about 60% of the budget as of now.
okay. I'm just thinking, like you mentioned, the hourly. If Jessica was going to take on a little bit of it, maybe we did hourly or something to get us through. So there is some wiggle room there. That's all I was more worried about, is if we even had the funds to entertain that. Rob, Julie?
So, for Sarah, is Sarah no longer working with us?
She is.
Okay. So, does it make, I don't think we can afford to have her to the end of the year. I think we would completely deplete that line item.
More than
That, yeah, that's definitely an issue.
And she may not have the capacity to do it either. So, I guess a couple questions. Do we have to post this position? If we do, we probably should be thinking about whether we have to post it or not and getting that done. Because it's going to come up pretty quickly.
what position? Sorry, Julie. Which position do you mean?
If we're combining the position, do we have to, is there any posting we have to do? I just want to be clear that we sort of know what we're.
Yeah, we can't do anything yet because it's still with the attorney, first of all, with the special legislation that has to go through the state.
Okay.
But that's where it has to change. It can't change locally.
Okay.
But
Okay.
once again, they said
Would
we
I have
kind
to
of like the same
apply?
one. No, but I think these are all really good questions. I don't know. You can appoint. I don't know that you'd apply. I don't know every answer to all of the questions. I'd also want to do some of this in executive session. To kind of
So I think we could appoint for both positions.
Yeah.
And then go into executive session to discuss salary. I think we could do that.
Yeah, there's other things than just salary that I'd like to discuss too, before we go into full on session with it.
Yeah.
But I really just wanted to get this in front of you. Like I said, we have a little bit of time, and I'm kind of limping along doing it. Obviously, my office is right across the hall, and I don't have a problem doing these turnovers. It's not difficult work. It takes a little time, but it's not hard. It's not like really skilled work to turn over checks. And we've had some assistance from Mike Quinn-Valen with the bill creation and things like that, because that's the software. So, you know, we're getting along. We're getting along okay right now, but this is something that I think that we should address before we get our financial review from DLS.
So are we getting along so much that, you know, we can not keep Sarah on?
Well, not really, because she has to answer some questions when she gets into the software, like if somebody, whatever they owe, you know, I can't get in there and I can't do both either. So we still need her. I'm trying to use her less and less, which is why I
Right. I guess
did
my
all the
concern
turnover, so I'm not paying her to do that. I did it, you know, over the weekend and stuff. So
because I think we originally said 6 weeks, and I think
Yeah.
we're well past
we're
that.
over 6. We're going into 8 weeks.
So, right. So my concern is, you know, money and being able to, yeah.
Do we have any senior work off people that can at least help with the process? Nicole?
I don't know. I mean, I can reach out. I don't know what everybody's skill ability is.
What about someone like, just a suggestion, would Paula be interested in that? Paula's done turnovers from her office. And
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Can we ask her if she'd be willing to do something, or,
Yeah.
you know, maybe there's other folks that could at least, they don't have to do the whole process, but they could at least help, you know, if you train them and teach them. Paula knows how to do turnovers. She's had to do them from her office for years as the town clerk, but, you know, maybe she'd be willing to give a little bit of time. Certainly we could figure out how to compensate her, to do that. Or if she, I don't know, just some suggestions of getting you a little bit of help with some skilled folks that understand, you know, the municipal setting and what's required.
Yeah, so that was what I was thinking too, that possibly if we can appoint Jessica at some point, then she can sit with Sarah for a little, you know, to kind of learn what she's doing right now. And Jessica will certainly know the process in Vadar, but right now, if somebody says, what do I owe? Or, you
It's
know,
completely different for her. Yeah.
how much do I owe in penalties or something like that I can't answer? I can collect, no problem.
Yeah. So I guess, just so I understand, and Rob, do you want to add anything at this point? You're muted. I'm not sure if you're talking.
I'm just a little concerned about trying to make 2 positions into 1. And even though you're going to try to put somebody in as a clerk to make sure to keep the right caliber person in both seats and not have turnover. The problem you're going to have, as we often have with clerks, it's kind of a intermediate position. People are either retired and just doing it kind of as the part-timing, or they're moving up and doing it as a fill-in thing, as a part-time thing. And if we train somebody on these jobs for this town, it's going to be very specific. You may have high turnover by doing
it's
this.
going to be highly recommended by the state, and most towns are doing it, especially towns with less than 5,000 people.
You hold on one sec, Nicole. And I don't want that pressure to be. So what's going to happen is Jess is going to step into a situation that she's going to be responsible for both jobs that are going to have to be completed in a timely fashion. And if somebody leaves in an untimely manner, she's going to be pressured to do this herself. And I know you guys are going to, whoever's within the town is going to help her as much as possible. I want everybody to be aware of that. So whatever plan we make here, we just need to think it through and be sure that we're We're not just trying to ease one problem because we'd have create another problem to ease one problem. Go ahead.
I think in a small town, unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. Like Nicole doing a lot of the collecting right now. I think no matter how you shake it up, we could always have an empty spot. And we've had an empty collector's position now for over 2 months. So I do think we need to act on something, and we're not getting resumes that, you know, fit what we're looking for. Lori, do you want to add anything? Any insight, like how you're seeing other towns, or, you know, your thought of Jessica taking on both roles? And, you know, again, it does depend on finding a good clerk, one that fits well with Jess. And I mean, that, you know, that could take time.
Yeah, that's my concern too. I share Rob's concerns there. I just, as we were sitting here, I was just going through all the towns that we work with, and literally out of the 6 towns, 3 have an appointed treasurer collector and 3 don't. So,
But yeah,
yeah, and one of them is appointed. They're 2 part-time appointed positions. So, I mean, it's kind of mixed, you know, throughout, and that's just a handful of towns. I've been talking to Jess about this since I was there last week, and you know, yeah, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, you know, like Rob said. But at the same time, like, that's what you do in a small town, you know, that's what you have to do. But I agree that it might be a lot for Jess in the short term, especially on her own, if we can't get her assistant in there soon. So that's what worries me, like that you'll, like Rob said, you'll be doing both jobs and you don't have an assistant, and you got to do both jobs, and they're both full-time jobs. So that worries me a little. I told you we'd be there to support you, help you, do whatever we need to do to get you there. But you know, I got to be honest, that it does concern me a little bit. Not that we can't do it, you know, but I do have a little bit of concern. More so because we're not on Vadar too. So, you know, the guy that runs the system that we use, can we, you know, contact him directly and work with him to get Jess familiar with at least that software? Like, you know, like, I feel like we can't rely on Sarah either to reach out to, you know, get balances for us, you know, so there's got to be a way that we can do that in-house without having to rely on other vendors to get that for us. So, I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, when I was there last week, a bunch of people came in or called, and like, we couldn't help them. Like that's the worst thing to do when you have to answer the phone and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You know, but we don't want to do that to the residents. But what else do we do? You know, so somebody is going to teach us. I mean, I'm willing to learn it too, you know, it must be a standalone system. I don't even know what it is. We just email him and he sends us a file. So, you know, that.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You know, it's so hard. I guess from a control standpoint, coming from the accounting sort of world, usually the treasurer and the collector are supposed to reconcile together. When you've got the same position doing that, what is that from a control standpoint? I mean, you have 2 separate systems that are trying to reconcile to each other, and that serves as a control, although in the past it sort of served as a roadblock, perhaps, right? But did we lose some control there? I just sort of looking at it from a big picture.
No, I mean, everything that Jess and the collector did are reconciled with the accountant anyway. You know what I mean? So like the accountant reconciles both of what they do anyway, so now it's just coming from the same person. So no.
Okay, good.
I mean, it would be an issue for me to go in there and collect money and, you know, do Jess's job, but no, not treasurer and collector.
Thank you.
I mean, I definitely, you know, I think Jess can do it. I told her that, you know, she has the ability to do it. She knows, you know, Hardwick. She knows the software. She's been there, you know, like but she needs help. You know, she's not going to be able to do it on her own. And how do you do that? Without setting you up to fail.
So can we post for a clerk position and fund, use what's left in the collector's line item? Is that a possibility? I'm trying to get to a spot where we're covered, before, because we can't make that a combined position yet, right, Nicole, until we hear back from legal and then go to the state and, blah, blah, blah. But, just trying to,
Can I jump in for a second?
yeah, go ahead.
So I was kind of crunching some numbers, and if we paid a clerk 32 hours a week at 15.69 an hour, that would be around 26,000.
Is that for the rest of the fiscal year?
The whole fiscal year. 1,000
So
for 32
that's
hours.
definitely, so that's
Great.
definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
So if we have 24, even if we don't have 24, even if we had 20 or whatever's left in the budget, that seems
Right.
reasonable to pay a clerk.
Because we got March, April, May, June. We got 4 months left. So I'm just,
Sarah.
And I would definitely be willing to on, maybe 10 hours a week, paid hourly until we got a clerk. We want to see what it costs to for everything over to Vadar. That would make everything so much faster and more efficient.
yeah. I think we need that number for sure.
You're probably not going to do that till July 1 anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say probably not.
My other concern is if we have a clerk more than 20 hours a week, want benefits.
Yeah, you got to offer them.
Out there.
So it sounds like we still have a lot of unanswered questions, and maybe we can, certainly this is going to be an ongoing discussion, especially when we need the special legislation for this. So maybe, we reconvene on this when we have that information, Nicole?
Yeah, so you can appoint the same person that you can do. You don't have to do anything but appoint them. There's no clerk in the budget, so the town people did not approve something like that. So I don't think that we can just do that. Now, could we pay somebody a clerk hourly, a temporary position? I think so. Do I want to see Jessica working 50 hours? No. I mean, she gets paid for 32.5, but I think she's here more than that. And, I can help too, but my work is going to suffer too, and already is. So, we have to do something. We're not getting, and it's all across. I know it's every industry, but it's really municipal world has really taken a hit on people working. We don't pay as much. Never mind, it's a small town. The whole Commonwealth doesn't pay that much. They try to rely on retirement and things like that, but people don't care about that right now. They care about the dollar that they're getting today. So, it's really hard. We are going to be strongly recommended by the state to combine the position. Like I said, I know Lori has a couple of towns that aren't combined. All the ones around here are. So, I think, like I said, I really wanted to get this in front of you. I can see if we can get some work off people. I've done the bulk of the excise, and now, it's sort of just plugging along until we go to the next bill in May. So, yeah, I can try to look into all of those things, but ultimately, I'm going to hope, strongly recommend also that we don't wait for the state to tell us that, you know, we already are privy to this information, and that I sent you all the cities and towns article stating where they're strongly recommending the combination, and especially when there's a vacancy. So, you know, the fact that we're working toward what they are suggesting, I think is good. But this is why
I think we can get there. I just think we need a little bit more information monetarily on how we can make this work.
Yeah. And yeah, we have to offer benefits. To me, I don't see that so much as a deterrent. I mean, there's a lot of people that are entitled to them right now that don't take them. So, you know, yes, we have to for it by over 20 hours. There we need 34 hours. That's another question. Maybe a clerk at 15, 16 more. It's not somebody working full time making a full time salary. You know, it's going to be a mom's hours kind of thing. So, you know, probably have an executive session and kind of talk it all out. But I just wanted to get it in front of you that this is really.
Well, there's a lot of. We can't just go into executive session to. Unfortunately, the parameters that may not be there. Just to have been working out, you know, appointing and making the position combined and talking salary, then, you know, yes, but then it becomes public knowledge.
Yeah, that's all I mean by if it does become Jessica, you know, that we have more discussion before it becomes public knowledge. But it's entirely in your purview to do that.
Well, I guess,
I mean, I think.
so,
Go ahead. Sorry.
in light of everything else we have going on, I guess I'm just going to say my opinion on this. In light of everything else we have going on and the importance of our numbers, I really do not want to misstep here. Our finance team is going to be more, our finance team has always been important. You are going to be more important coming up fairly quickly. And I hate to be skimming it and really shoot ourselves in the foot because we, you know, if we can't get a clerk in there and, you know, Jess ends up getting behind and it's going to create an issue, a larger scale issue for us. So it's not something I think we, although I also don't want Nicole working a million hours either. I think we really need to put some consideration to this because it has some big ramifications. We have gotten slammed in the past and you know, whether rightly so or not rightly so, about the financial situation in Hardwick and what our finances have looked like. And frankly, our team in the past. So I don't want to take these decisions lightly and because of what we have at stake.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But I don't know but I also don't know what the right answer is. So with me saying that, I think we should be, my opinion only, we should be ultra careful with regard to this because, you know, there are people watching us and that has been, you know, quite frankly, and this is, you know, I'm not saying anything out of school. We've been criticized in the past by the lack of, and I just don't want this to be another, not because no one's trying or because but because someone's overwhelmed that we're not hitting the mark on this. I think it's more important now than ever that we are hitting the mark on everything that we do. And if it's hiring an interim clerk to do the collector position until we can figure this out, I think, Lori, could we do that within the confines of what we have left? And maybe that's what we do. Maybe there's someone from a neighboring town who doesn't work full time that could come in and we could have them, you know, work and just help us get over the hump until we can figure this out. I don't know, just my thoughts.
Well, that's what we have Sarah for, but
Well, we can't afford Sarah.
right.
I think what Julie was asking is if we could hire that clerk with, you know, through that line item until we figure out how we're going to combine them and make the next step. and then make, come budget season, town meeting, if we combine them, then that becomes the salary, whatever it is. And then the clerk, instead of the collector, it becomes a clerk position.
I think Nicole spoke to that. The town meeting didn't approve a clerk, right? So can we just hire a
No,
clerk?
but
I mean, financially, you can use those funds for that
in the
position.
interim, correct, right.
It would just be hiring an unqualified collector, I guess, right? Because they'd just be a clerk.
Well, we
Maybe
can
they
put
could-
job description
they
as
could be-
anything.
Maybe they could be a
Get that-
collector with the
Get
understanding
that
that it's
position
on
in
a,
there.
maybe,
I've advertised twice already.
can we look to other towns? I mean, I'm happy to reach out to other towns and see if there's, even if somebody could work for us 8 or 12 hours a week, whatever it might be, at least it would be something to take the pressure off until,
Because the reality is, this doesn't work unless there's another person there.
That's right.
I mean, it would work maybe like for a hot second, and then again, then it's too much for one person without that clerk there. Right. I don't care if you're Superwoman or whatever. It's too much for one person.
I agree.
Unless you're working 80 hours a week to try to make it, and that no one should have to do that. So if we advertised for the clerk that we want, a financial clerk, Nicole, you mentioned putting together that job description. If we advertise for that person, it gets the ball rolling.
I just have somebody here to pay taxes, so I'm just going to mute myself for a minute.
Okay. Am I making sense with what I'm saying? I just.
Basically, we need to hire a temporary collector. That's what we need to do.
well, and I also think that we have,
Eventually be a clerk.
But we tried, Rob. It's been advertised for 2 months.
Well, I know, but they'd be a temporary collector right now until they become a clerk after we can change the vote and the funding.
I mean, can we reach out to the applicants and see if they're interested?
In that,
Yeah.
or maybe we can reach out to other surrounding towns and see if their collector would be willing to, work on a part-time basis or whatever, at least to get us over the hump if we don't have anybody that fits the bill right now. Because realistically, people, we don't want people to burn out trying to get the job done. And also, I think, the issue with the software is, maybe we have somebody who can help us with the conversion. There's no, depending on what the cost is on that, it sounds like we need to probably get on that sooner than later, especially if we're sort of at the mercy of Mike Quinlivan to help us with Julie Quink OX. I mean, that's really not efficient for us.
I mean,
Hopefully,
can we use
Julie
Mike?
Quink doesn't OX. Hopefully I'm paid, but, the point is, we should be able to know what our residents owe us
Right.
without having to rely on somebody else.
But can we use Mike? Nicole, I don't know if you've spoken to Mike, but can we use Mike like on an hourly basis to answer us questions and show us how to use the software? And
He doesn't get back to me. He gets back to Sarah sometimes, so it's just sporadic. So I don't know.
We built,
That's a
there was
problem.
there was some expense built into the collector's budget for dealing with Mike. So I think we do have the funds in there for him to, show us. We should be able to run those reports. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to run reports. Show us who owes what.
That is true. And that's why, if we had Vadar, like I could, in my other town, on my other software, I could get into everybody's module. So, yeah, I think we should absolutely do that.
It makes
Yeah,
it so much
I think-
easier too
yeah.
to run, the tax title. I wouldn't have to enter it all manually, and it goes right over.
No, we went round and round with this a couple different times.
But I mean, especially even before somebody starts, we can just be like,
Yeah.
this is the software you're going to use.
Mhm.
And it absolutely should be Vadar, no doubt about it. I couldn't believe it when it wasn't. And I have zero issue putting it on my computer too. And you know, worst comes to worst, we can use ARPA funds if it's too expensive to
I don't
convert.
think it's that.
And
I don't
then
think it's
it
that
hits the
expensive.
budget annually. Sorry,
I don't think it's that expensive to convert.
I have no idea because
I just did it in another town, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it was under 10.
Oh, I think we definitely, we need that information. And then, I guess then we need to, put together a job description and see about posting.
And in the meantime, I can see if there's any senior work off that can do some turnovers here in the office. Jessica and I had already talked about it, and she did reach out to Vadar to see the process, so we're waiting for them to get back to us. I'll try to find other small towns that have part-time employees. I mean, I would think that whoever's looking for a job would be looking on these sites that I post them on, but
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if, it sounds silly, but just like the local little newspapers, I wonder if that's worth a try. And then if it's possible, if we want to have an executive session, if it falls within the parameters, the board and Unicole and Jess, then, I'm happy to do that.
okay, then I'll come back next meeting with more information.
Just or sooner if you want to email us, and if we want to get this, now we're the middle of March next time. So the longer this goes, the more we're spending, with Sarah, and I do think we need to come up with a resolution.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Because it is a lot on everybody. So I mean, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast with a small town. It just, everybody wears several hats sometimes, and I will say that I appreciate everything you guys are all doing to keep it all going. So thank you.
Thank you.
We will figure it out, though.
Thank you, Jess and Lori, for coming.
Yes, thank you both.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Okay, the next item is the warrant process. And Nicole, I will hand it over to you again.
Okay. So the warrant process is just basically everybody submits their bills or their own little tiny warrants to make the big warrant to Jessica. And then it goes to the accountant. And then the accountant sends it over to us. So I was talking to Lori, and Lori said that, before approving everything, she could send it to me, and then I can go through it. And any questions I have, if something needs to get pulled out, then we can pull it out instead of just, automatically just either paying everything that maybe we don't want to approve, or I don't know if it's already been paid. Lori will know that, but I was looking in the financial policy handbook that I also wanted to ask. I don't know if that was ever formally adopted. I asked Brian, and he was going to look it up, but it's not anywhere that's really convenient and easy for him to find. We were talking about a different process that we're going to do starting in the next fiscal year to just write resolutions for any kind of important decision that's made, and anything monetarily that we'll be able to reference back to pretty quickly. But as far as this goes, this is from 2017, and after every section, it says effective date this policy was adopted on, with parentheses and date, and so it doesn't seem like it was completed. But there is a section in here that talks about disbursements. And that you're supposed to sign them all, but I think obviously as me working as there's, let me make sure somebody is on my phone. The staff that I should be reviewing these before they just get sent out. Let me just find the section, just give me 1 second.
When I send the warrant, I email the warrant back to you guys after we Melanson does their thing, review everything, enter everything, and then it's on its way back to Jess. So there's still an opportunity for it to be reviewed, adjusted at that point.
Yeah.
So that's why I suggested that I could send that to Nicole. Nicole could review it, and then Nicole and I would sign it and send it onto the board. Or, I don't know if you guys are coming in now, because I think we started emailing it because you guys weren't coming into town hall because of COVID. So I don't know, that's why we were like, is that process going to change too? Or.
So we did because back, I sent you those minutes.
Yep.
We'd authorized Teresa to sign off on them due to COVID.
Yeah.
And we were getting them emailed just so that, we saw what was going on. And sometimes I shoot you a question when I look at it, but so I guess I just want clarification because by the time you have everything, you've already put it all together. And chances are whoever's submitting for payment, they've already maybe gotten whatever that is or if it's a purchase, like a Lowe's purchase or whatever, they already have that material.
Yeah.
If it's a renewal for, a certification or something, then that may be a little bit different. So I guess I'm wondering if I'm understanding maybe, Nicole, what you're suggesting.
I thought I don't want to like micromanage, but I feel like we should have one more step in the purchasing process. So when they submit their, I guess everybody calls them a warrant or their bills to be paid, it even says, the policy says that the town accountant and board of selectmen should review and approve it. So if they're coming to me each day, I can review it, and I can look at it for whether it's appropriate. Obviously most things will be appropriate. Sometimes I think things might need a little deeper dive. And I also just asked Lori to create purchase orders. So anything over 10, under 50, we can have backup to what they did to do the proper procurement process, because you don't have to go out to bid for that. So I just think that a little more oversight. Again, I'm certainly not asking for more work, but I think that people will think about their spending if they know if they don't just send it up and
if there's an extra step. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. Might just make people think a little bit.
Yeah, for the most part, and I did this in my other town. And I feel like it was beneficial. I certainly didn't sit there and scrutinize every single line. It was more like, if it's not signed, then the accountant's going to push it right back, and right. Say, well, okay, well, you bought pens for $75. Why wasn't it signed off by the town administrator? Well, I was like, no, you're gonna have to use our $6 pens. You can't use expensive pens from the public money. And that's just a stupid example, but just a little bit more like I'm seeing it a little closer before it actually goes out to Lori.
Mm-hmm. You want to see it before it comes to me? Is that what you're suggesting?
Like, when you send it, there's no backup. There's just the bill. There's no.
Yeah, but remember I told you all the backups on Basecamp.
I don't go on that. But if I you know, if I got it before you got it, and, you know, to make sure that it's an appropriate purchase.
But that's what we're doing. I just think you're gonna do it again. Or I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, that's up to you. If you wanna do it before it gets to us.
I don't ever see that you even questioned anything.
Oh, ask your department heads what we question. Every single day, I see Julie shaking her head. Everyone laughs that nothing gets by Diane. In fact, I have one on my inbox to ask you about tomorrow. So yeah, believe me, nothing will get by us.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm not on those emails, so I certainly didn't see it. I mean, another thing to the board was that I think we should put this financial policy manual in front of you again to see what you want to adopt and what you don't, and formally adopt it.
Is there you're holding a paper copy of it. Is there a scan of it?
I do have a digital copy that I asked DLS for because this is I just found this randomly in this drawer way in the back. And so I asked them, and they don't make books anymore, but he sold it to me. So
because I feel like I remember there being talk about that, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you if it was ever voted in. I couldn't.
Okay. That's just something else I think that we should think about. If it was done, it was completed 5 years ago, and you know we should be following it and referencing it, and that's.
Yeah, you think I'd remember that? I remember them coming in and doing different things. I don't remember actually adopting, voting to adopt them. Rob or Julie, do you want to interject with anything?
I thought we did, but I don't remember.
And so long as the accounting team is really looking closely at the warrants, I certainly don't have to.
And again, that's like when I send you that before you get it, look at it, just scan through it. That's why I put it in that format so you guys can just scan through it, see the vendor, see what account we're charging it to, the dollar amount, anything you have a question on, just tell me, ask me, and I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what we talked about. Back up.
I know I've asked you a couple of questions here and there. Normally, it's pretty self-explanatory. But I also, Nicole, I do get what you're saying. About the departments sending you maybe with I don't know. I do get what you're thinking, like make people think a little bit before but again, if the accountants are doing that, I certainly, I'm not sure you need more work.
Right. No, I think as long as somebody's doing it, that is the thing. When I see the warrant and I go through it and I of course I look at every single one. But I'm under the assumption that all that has already been sent through and paid.
No. Because we mail it back. When do we mail it back, Jess? We'll probably mail it tomorrow. You'll get it Thursday, and she prints the checks on Friday.
Right up until I print the checks, we can pull something from the warrant.
Yeah, and even if she prints it, we can just void the checks. They don't go out like the minute you print them. So yeah, there's still time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nicole, are you thinking though, like, I know some towns will have to almost like ask permission after like a certain dollar amount?
No, I don't, that's not in the financial policy manual. It's more of just the two signatures, but, I mean, seriously, I don't want to, take up too much time. I just wanted to make sure that that's happening. So if the accountants are doing it and they're emailing the departments and asking them questions, absolutely. As long as it's being done.
And we have 2 levels of review. Diane does it, and then I review it after she does it. So.
Okay, good.
Right, so we're happy with that then?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll keep that status quo. Okay, I didn't see any committee reports, so your report, Nicole, if you want to go through that.
Yeah, we're having a department head meeting tomorrow, so hopefully everybody will give me reports and then you'll have them for the next meeting. So Zeneca Farms is still seeking to secure a host community agreement with the town of Hardwick for 228 Berry Road. They're still working on their HCA. they keep asking to get in front of you guys, but they keep wanting to change the host community agreement. And I finally spoke with Rebecca Adams last week and said, you know, the other two that were done certainly didn't have this back and forth, and your 5,000 is going to be gone because you are working way too much with the attorney. But so, you know, I kind of just said, get it done and we can get in front of them. But, you know, this volleying back and forth between the attorneys and her attorneys is too much. So
I will say
they still want to do it.
they take a little while between it took a while to get the first few done.
Well, the other ones are the same. They're basically the same. They just they're all the
because
same language.
because Nicole at KP made them the same.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, she's kind of pushing back a little bit, so they're working on that.
Well, that's what we pay for. So.
Yeah, confidential mediation with USDA is still ongoing. It's confidential, so I can't really talk about it right now. I did receive a call from EPA on Thursday. They're keeping a very close eye on us. There are, you know, enforcement actions that they are still looking into because, you know, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years. But, you know, I've reassured them that we're making progress and we're working diligently, and to please not sue us or give us any heavy penalties. So they just want updates periodically, so they're okay. But it was a pretty serious phone call, and they're not looking too favorably on keeping this at bay and just leaving it here without, you know, actually enforcing it. So we've got a couple of eyes on us. The town audit is ongoing. Staff continues to assist with documentation. We are forwarding things all the time to them. The YouTube for viewing meetings at home has been created, so we have a channel, but the supplies have been delayed, as everybody can probably understand. So now we're hoping to have it up and running by the end of March. I didn't really see any point to putting it on right now without being able, because we're going to meet in person, and without being able to see anything. You know, on YouTube you have to be filming it, and we don't have the equipment yet, so I didn't think that was worth doing yet. Once again, this was in my last report too. The town census has gone out. Please keep an eye out. Please return it. These forms are extremely important when we are considered for grants. We had the second municipal vulnerability preparedness meeting last Wednesday. We established who will be invited to our charrettes. We'll be at the town hall March 24th and the 31st from 5 to 8. And then I'll be able to update you shortly thereafter if you're not included in these charrettes, where we have breakout groups and we meet for about 6 hours, 3 hours on each day, and kind of really brainstorm and try to get the plan together. Planning board is finalizing their solar bylaw. They're working on it at their last meeting for the town meeting. So then we're eligible for the Green Community Grant again in the fall. You can only apply for it in spring or fall. So it was a good time to update that solar bylaw because we are, as I expected, getting you know, a lot of interest in solar because there's so much open space out here, and the bylaws just weren't tight enough, I think. So the planning board has been working on that, and they've been working on that. It's their thing. The ambulance committee will be meeting March 7th. I will give a formal update and invite the chair to give recommendations on emergency medical emergency medical services at the March 14th meeting. And Tuesday, tomorrow night, the East Quabbin Land Trust and Mass Division of Ecological Restoration will be facilitating a meeting regarding the proposed Wheelwright Pond Dam removal on the Ware River. I agreed to host it here at Town Hall, and anybody is interested is encouraged to come. I don't know any more about that either. I just like what I read from the flyer. So if anybody wants to hear more information about the pond, dam removal, please come. And I will meeting with Finance Committee March 7th. Hopefully have the budget to present to them. I don't have everybody's budget yet. The biggest ones I really don't have yet. So, I've been working with the, you know, as in the tax collector's office. So that was kind of on the back burner, but it's definitely going to be priority over the next few weeks. Our IT contract is coming due this June. and none of the staff are happy with it, and it's getting super expensive. It's probably at least $1,500 more a month than we should be spending. So I've reached out and got some quotes, and I have to put an invitation for bid out. But I think that we're going to get some good interest in hosting our IT. Paragus just isn't really cutting it for the town. They may for other towns, but for our town, they are, they're just not sufficient. They're not up to par, up to what most of the staff. I can't tell you. Almost every staff has come to me with issues with this IT group. So, I realized that from the day I started that it certainly isn't what I want to see in an IT group. So, and then Saturday, March 12th, our town resident Grant Biggs will be presented with his Eagle Scout rank at the Ware High School. The board is invited to attend, and I have a proclamation for you to sign and present to him. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I don't have anything.
I think Lori Hoffman sent over a report today. Do we need to look at that or talk about that?
Yeah, she sent over a report, like the arrest
Police report.
Yeah. Which I was going to show you March 14th when I have everybody's reports.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Julie.
I was just going to say I'll be at the Eagle Scout presentation. I think that's a big deal, and I think it makes sense that we have a good showing support. For
and I don't know what I think his full name is Grant Biggs Pelletier.
I think it's Grant Pelletier Biggs, right?
Yeah, just so that I don't know.
It's on the proclamation like that. I got it from the email, but I know when I looked down, I was gonna say it and then I didn't. But it is on the proclamation.
Okay.
Just the way that Dan sent it in the email.
Perfect. Okay.
And so if you all three of you are on there to sign, because it's next Saturday, so you're not meeting before then. And then there's one other thing from Eric Fulheim that I sent you in the box to be signed.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions about that. Within the plan, I just question, like this before the signature page, it says that the plan was posted 2/16, and it says Phillips Fulheim posted it.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I didn't go through it. I just Eric sent it to me. And I forwarded it to you.
I'm not opposed to signing it. I just I want to sign something that's accurate. I don't know if he has I don't know, if it goes by Phillips. I don't know.
I don't think so.
It
might, probably the state did it, and they might have had a different name there and made a mistake.
Yeah. So
I'll ask.
I think we probably want to just make sure it's cleaned up before we sign it. Nothing kind of annoys me more than big typos, and well, Julie, you always catch the typos too, so I'm sure you can respect that. And then the attachments that were part of it are very outdated. So because it still talks about Hardwick Rescue Squad and contacts for them. So I guess maybe it would have been good for him to be here so that he could explain what in fact all this is. Because there's the community point of distribution survey, not that, but there was another attachment that you sent that had a whole bunch of tabs at the bottom. It listed like businesses in town, buildings in town, the town routes. There's a fair amount of it that's very outdated on here. So I don't know if it's pertinent to this report. So I'm just not sure about signing off on
Okay, I'll ask them
something
tomorrow.
that's not, yeah. And so maybe, if he wants to just take a peek at that, and then maybe we can sign it next time.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has any questions about that. No? Everybody good? It lists Mike Howe as the highway department. I just saw that. Just Sherry Patch is. No, just, there's just things in there that should probably be updated if in fact it's pertinent to this plan. But I don't know if the state gets this or, we want our information correct on it, so. Okay. Anybody have anything else?
I'm toast.
You and me both. Rob?
It's all right. I can't, some reason you guys keep breaking up. What'd she just say?
Oh, Julie said
I
she's.
said that was toast. I think it's, yeah, I think it's time to stick a fork in it. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We'll second that.
All right, are all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.